All right. Well, hello. Usually you're used to me coming up and let's hype. My name is Brittany Francis. This is Rick Francis. And today we're not going to do that. Can you believe it? This is not going to be hype. And we are not here to convince you, because every single person before us and after us, this does the convincing. Am I correct? This patch? What we're here to talk to you all about is something so important. It's your exit strategy. Mm-hmm. And before you get off your seat or before you get off the video, I'm not telling you to go and quit your job tomorrow. I promise, okay? That's not what this is about. But truly, what this is about is not feeling trapped. We have been doing this business for 2 years, and we have fallen in love with the industry. We are so grateful to Danny and Diane. Our marriage is growing. We're growing as people. We're answering the call that God has put on our lives. And without this industry, the Lord would not have freed us to do what we were called to do. But like many of you, we were at a grind. And we had no plan. My husband would leave every single morning, owning a dealership or not, owning or partnering or working or not, my husband would leave every morning. And my children, our older 2 children, barely knew him. See, outside it looked like we were completely successful. But there were so many things that God called us to do. And that's what we wanted to share with you. How did we get where we could stand up and walk towards what God had called us to? Mm-hmm. Go for it, baby.
So we've learned a few things. So we're coming up on 2 years, never done any sort of direct sales. We had really no clue what we're doing. But for me, and really for both of us, this was just a journey that we decided to go on, but we had to learn so much, right? And we loved every single bit of it. But here's what we know now is, most people don't have a retirement plan. They have a hope plan, right? They hope their job will always be there. They hope their health will hold up, that the company they work for will stay loyal. They hope the economy won't change, the rules won't shift, but it's not a strategy. No. Loyalty is no longer rewarded the way it once was. Good people get laid off, entire industries change, pensions disappear, promises expire, but most people are one disruption away from panic. And I can tell you at one point, Britt asked me that solid question. What would you do if you weren't in the car business? And that was that little bit of onset panic when I looked at her and I said, I don't know how to do anything else. I only know cars. My identity had become car business. But you know what? When you think about that, it's not to be fear-based, but it's reality-based.
It is.
So what we had to look at is an exit strategy. And so the best plan for an exit strategy is you've got to build it before you need it. And when I say an exit strategy, it's not running from something. It wasn't running from the car business. We're not saying go out there and quit your job tomorrow. An exit strategy is options. It's building something so you're never cornered, right? It doesn't depend on one single employer. It can survive economic shifts, but it rewards effort, not just time. It's not just punching a time clock, but most importantly, it puts control back in your hands. Because I had to realize real quick, and this isn't about getting rich quick.
No.
It's about freeing yourself intentionally. So here's the truth, though, and you've heard this all day, is you have to work for it. Because I'm going to say something that's kind of honest and it's just a little bit uncomfortable. This only works if you work, right? Not if you wish, not if you watch. If you're doing this with a spouse, with somebody else, I'm guilty of this. Everything I'm about to say, I'm 100% guilty of watching. I'm watching my wife work, right? I'm wishing that she does well. I'm waiting. I don't know what I'm waiting on, but I'm the master of finding an excuse.
He was really good at waiting.
I'm waiting on something. But that is the truth, is I had to look at it, and we had to have a discussion. I had to get honest with myself. And most people would be fired from a traditional job if they showed up to this, and this is something for yourself. You're going to work and building someone else's dream. This is your opportunity to do it for yourself. Danny says, right, you're the variable.
Yep.
We are the variable. But you have to look at it that way. You've got to look at that and show up in your own life. Because if you're showing up late, you're inconsistent, you're unprepared, you're easily distracted, if you're quitting mentally because that was a bump in the road, you're going to have a very hard time with this. And that's something that we learned pretty quickly. But if you show up to the job the way some people are showing up to opportunity, they just wouldn't last, like I said. So it's not an insult. It's a time for some self-reflection. But you've got to be honest with yourself, just like I was. And it wasn't exactly being honest. You know, I could be accountable to Britt. I could be accountable to my kids. You know, you can be accountable to many things. But I had to look at myself and say, Rick, do I really want change? Or do I just want temporary relief?
Yeah.
Do I want freedom? Or do I just want some sort of comfort? I'm actually willing to grow, and are we willing to grow?
As
or do we
people.
just want results without responsibility? Yeah, growing as people. But the thing is freedom has a price.
It does.
That price is discipline, right? And when I go back to discipline, I go back to the car dealership world. Real simple place for me. Once you get used to after 22 years, I understood the discipline and goal setting, right? Each salesperson had a goal. Every new car manager had a goal. Used car manager had a goal. The manufacturer set a goal for us, right? I knew what I had to chase. The parts manager has a goal. Service manager has a goal. But you know what I learned real quick is, you know, when you're talking about that, results could care less about your excuses. Because once again, there's always an excuse in every industry, in every profession you can find an excuse. But in the car business, just like any other business, no one gets paid on potential. You heard the gentleman, I think it was Scott earlier, say that. No one gets paid on potential. I couldn't look at any salesperson and say, well, how'd you do today? Oh, boss, I did great. Made a lot of friends, went on a lot of test drives. Well, great, good potential, but you know what? It doesn't pay.
Yep.
No one's going to get promoted for saying, you know what? I showed the customer every feature on this car. Well, what happened? Oh, they left. But you know what? That's not how business works. So we had to set goals. We had to be very intentional. We had a daily goal. We had a daily activity goal. And then we had a scoreboard, right? And we have this very similar thing in this industry, right? You have that daily goal. You have your DMO, right? What are you going to do? And then you're looking at your daily scoreboard. And guess what? We didn't hit it every day. We didn't hit our goals every day. You may not hit your goal every day. But you know what you have to do is you have to adjust.
Yep.
You have to come back. You have to work harder. You've got to learn from what was working, what wasn't working. But you show up the next day. And it's not emotional. It's not dramatic.
No, it's
just
not.
Pure discipline. And that's the thing. Success, that was something people goes, oh, what about success? Success is boring. If you watch successful people and you learn from successful people, it's repetitive, it's consistently, but most important, it's daily. And with LifeWave, it's the exact same thing. And these are the strategies that work. So every single time, you've got to set non-negotiable actions. Now, I changed the word from goal to actions because they've got to be actions, right? It's easy to track a goal, but are you tracking your actions?
Right.
Are you doing it and are you showing up even when you don't feel like it? If you can start showing up and doing the things you're supposed to do when you don't feel like it, it's a lot easier to do it when you do feel like it, right? When you've got momentum. But you've got to stop waiting for motivation, right? You can't be waiting for someone to stand on stage. You can't be waiting to hear the nugget that you're waiting to hear.
Yeah.
It's got to come from within. But you got to build that momentum through movement, basically, nonstop. You've got to do the right things consistently. So execution every single day. But you've got to go all in, right? That's what we keep talking about is going all in. And here's the line in the sand, is it doesn't need to be perfect. Not everything you need to do, it needs to be perfect. You don't need to know everything to have movement. Don't pause.
Yep.
Don't get stuck on an area of the comp plan. Don't get stuck on the detail, right? You don't need to know about every single product line in the car business before you sell a car. Not every customer is going to have that question.
He doesn't even know how to open the hood.
No. A lot of people open the hood, that's where it started. I couldn't
And
do a
that
single
floored
thing.
me, but it's true. When we talked about the comp plan, when we talked about the X39 and how it worked, I did look back to my husband, and I remembered that he didn't even know how to put the coast on our car. But he was the top dealer in the country of that particular car. He had no idea. He didn't care. He knew to set the goals and he knew to set the expectation every single day that if he was able to get someone in the car to test drive it and follow up, eventually he would win.
Yep. And that's the thing is you got to have trust in the process, trust in the system. This Is It team has a system. You've got to plug into that and trust that because if you're not all in, you're halfway in.
Yeah.
And then you know what you have to do? You have to accept the fact that you're not all in. Because there's been plenty of times, self-admittedly once again, that I'm not all in. And guess what? Causes frustration. Causes frustration where everything you look at around you gets frustrating. Causes resentment, right? You start looking around at other people in the business. Well, why are they doing it? Oh, it's because they got more experience than us. It's because they're in this area. It's because they're surrounded by these people. It's because they have this.
It's because they've done it before.
And then guess what happens? You start making excuses of, this doesn't work. This doesn't work. This system doesn't work. This business doesn't work. But we all know it does. So you have to be all in.
Yeah. And what I want to point out is, he said it earlier, this works when you work. Okay? In other words, not when it's convenient. Okay? Not when life calms down. How many of you all know that life never calms down? Mm-hmm. I'm going to start next week because this week so-and-so's in town and I need to go and drive across the city to go and see them on Thursday. I'm really stressed, right? That doesn't work. So when you say you're all in on something, you have to be all in. There's not a negotiable. And I really say that. I told Rick, I said, you really need to talk about the business this time. I'm not speaking as much. But women, we can get thrown off our tracks so quickly. Our children, we went through hell last year with our oldest daughter. God is good and God is faithful. But I remember talking to Danny and Diane, and Danny, he doesn't even know this. I heard it in his voice, he said, I'm so sorry. And I said, we're going. We're going to keep going because we're going to have to pay for what she needs. And so we don't have a choice. And that's the decision that you have to make.
So you've got to see this as the biggest opportunity in your life, potentially, if you see it, right? And it's not just because of money. It's because of timing. What's the best time? Right now.
Right now.
The technology, X39, is that changing lives around the world? Yes, you've got the technology and leverage. Last I checked, everyone you're talking to is getting older, has stem cells, and you've got a patented technology that can change their world. So that's the opportunity. You've got to see that. So we live in a time where we can build alongside your current life.
Yeah.
You can reach people instantly. With social media and the ways, it doesn't matter where you live, you can reach people instantly, but you can create an income that's not tied to a brick and mortar place. That was something that was absolutely mind-blowing to me. It took us, like I said, I'm a little bit of a slow learner, 22 years to figure out, oh wow, there is another way, but you know what? We wouldn't change it for the world. LifeWave has provided all of that. So you can change your future without permission. But remember, opportunities don't beg. They don't chase.
No.
They don't convince, right? They wait for decision makers.
Opportunity doesn't chase. You present. You present and you paint a picture. And those that see the vision, they're going to come alongside you.
And so what we want to say is we don't want you to leave here inspired.
No.
Which sounds a little funny, but we want you to leave here decided. So you're going to decide exactly who you're going to become. You're going to decide what you're not going to tolerate anymore. But your exit strategy, it doesn't start someday. It starts today. The question is, can LifeWave work? The question isn't, can LifeWave work for you? The question isn't, is this is it team the right team for you? The question is, are you going to work? That's what it boils down to. So, I mean, everybody in the chat standing up, if it's something where you're making the decision, it needs to be made today. Stand up. Stand up right now if you're all in. If you're in studio, stand up if you're all in. Right now. because I can tell you we're all in. We want everyone all in with us. So if you type in that chat, you're all in.
Want something else?